Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Hunt Palmer Show brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Working towards the weekend. We got plenty to do here in hour number 2. We will get into some LSU baseball transfer portal talk. We got an arm from Gonzaga that I want to discuss here in 15 minutes, so we'll do a little bit of that then. But right now, we're going to talk a little Saints. Kellen Moore met with the media yesterday. A lot of his discussion was about Alvin Kamara. We've talked a ton about Alvin Kamara. We talked about it yesterday on the show twice. We talked to Luke Johnson about it in the first hour. We kind of covered that on every angle. So I wanted to deviate from that central storyline a little bit, but not too far, because we are going to talk about the Saints running game and some of the things Kellen Moore had to say about it. And that really starts up front, right? And you've got a Saints offensive line. You've got these 2 first-round picks at tackle. You've got a Pro Bowl caliber center. You've got Caesar Salad, as Matt likes to call him, at right guard. And you've got, I can't even say it with a straight face. And then you've got David Edwards, who you went and got at left guard to try to fortify this thing and help run the football a little bit better than the Saints did last year. And Kellen Moore was asked about David Edwards and just kind of how he's been impressed with him in the early going in black and gold.
Yeah, physically, it's really impressive what David can do. His experience and his communication skills are really special. If you go watch that Buffalo film, how much he's communicating at the line of scrimmage is incredible. Him being in the left guard position and communicating with the tackles and the centers and the quarterback and all that. So he gets football from a really high level. And I think just that combination of him and Banks over there, spending time together, when those guys, get tied together and can communicate at a really high level and they can work these combinations, we got something really special going on right there.
I don't disagree with that. It's very possible. I think that this was a good signing. We talked about it last week when there was a question raised by ESPN.com, like, why are you investing in guys that are like win now guys when you're really not at a win now spot? It's like, well, we're trying to develop the quarterback and move things along pretty quickly. And one of the things you got to do is run the ball. And the Saints couldn't run the ball last year. Now, it hurts when your center's out for the year. You trade your left guard, who wasn't very good, and Trevor Penning anyway, but you're trying to recoup assets for him because you weren't going to pick up his option, obviously. And then you got guys that are banged up on the tackles as well. You had Fuaga playing through injury, and you got a rookie at left tackle, and there were big issues. And now, a year forward, you feel better about your tackles, who are a year older. Fuaga year 3, Banks year 2. You get McCoy back healthy, and you bring in one of the better left guards in the game, and certainly the best one on the market. You feel like the running game is going to be better, and it better be better because it was terrible last year, other than Tyler Shuck kind of running for his life. And Kellen Moore mentioned the importance of getting better in the run game.
We got to run the football better. We've spent a lot of time talking about it, but also trying to focus on ways that we can improve, whether it's schematically, personnel, all that fun stuff. It's an important aspect. You got to be able to control the line of scrimmages. That's where so much of this football game is, at the end of the day, won. And, when you can run the football and have the threat of running the football, it allows so many other things to kind of come off of it. But, it's the ability to run, but also the threat to run. If you're not running the ball well enough, people can make it challenging for you on the back end.
Obviously, that's all rudimentary stuff. And so we start up front with the running game. You've got to run the football. We know that. What's the other parts of running the ball? Well, you got to hand it to somebody and have them run the ball, right? So you go out and you get Travis Etienne, who's got 3 of the last 4 years over 1,000 yards, something that Saints haven't done since Mark Ingram. Alvin Kamara has never done. Now, he was very close a couple years ago, but he's never done it. And while we're avoiding the singular Alvin Kamara storyline of him coming back to camp, when you're talking about the running game, you can't ignore Alvin Kamara because you've got Travis Etienne, you've got Alvin Kamara. You certainly have invested draft picks the last 2 years into Devin Neal and Kendre Miller. You had a little bit of a spark last year for Montreux Estime. So you've got options there, but the headliners are still Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara. Now, I told you yesterday, I don't think Alvin Kamara is going to play for the Saints this year on his full contract. That's my opinion based on the tea leaves that I'm reading. And if he's not on the team, well, it's a different discussion. But if he is on the team, how do those two work together?
Yeah, 2 really talented running backs. I think you look at our running back room, we got a lot of really talented players in there. And, those 2 have done it for a really long time and been at the top of this league. And so, again, you're going to need multiple running backs to carry the load throughout a season. And so, we're excited with how that group's developing. And now it's just a matter of getting them out there and getting more and more reps and exposure.
I could try my hardest to read too deep into that. I could dislocate a shoulder reaching here where he takes a question about Alvin Kamara and HN, who are clearly the two guys, and mentions the whole running back group and wanted to develop all those guys. And I could reach and go, see, he's actually talking about the guys behind Kamara. Like, I could do that. I'm not necessarily inclined to do that right now. I think I'll just let that answer lay where it may lay. But it's a question that's going to have to be answered here at some point. And so we're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but I think it's interesting to try to see how that would work. There was never a quote there from Kellen Moore where, we've talked to Alvin about the role that he could play. We really like to use him more on third downs to keep his legs fresh. You could have gone into different ways that you're going to use Alvin Kamara, and instead you kind of deflected to the entire running back room. You could have spoken about how, HN's our lead back and we're going to work off of him. You didn't do that. You just it was a non-committal answer, which Kellen Moore is very, very good at. Kellen Moore will give you a non-committal answer a lot of times, and he certainly did that in that circumstance. And all this that pieces together, this front for the Saints, the new left guard, the tackles who are maturing, the center who's healthy, all of these things with the running back and the emphasis on running the football is all designed to help Tyler Shuck to operate the offense a little easier. Last year, he had no running game. He had very little pass protection. His wide receivers were non-existent. They were guys off the street, off the practice squad. It was a brutal environment for him to try to thrive in. And to his credit, he did to an extent. But this should allow him to operate more conventionally and more efficiently. And Kellen Moore talked about Shuck's operation to this point, which we understand is early in the offseason.
I think it's just communicating at a really high level, control at the line of scrimmage. Those things are going to be important parts as you kind of evolve in a system. Every quarterback's going to go through that. And so I think he's just done a really good job of operating.
Not a ton to chew on there, but I think the consensus you're hearing from Moore, from some of the players in interviews, from the media who's there at practice that are watching every day, it just appears that Tyler Shuck is just in a little bit more command. And that it would be surprising if he wasn't, quite frankly. It would be surprising if he wasn't. But it sounds like he is. And for right now, as we sit here in June, the real hope of the Saints franchise hangs in the balance with him. And there's every reason for optimism in that. We don't have a lot of reason for pessimism in that. That doesn't come from OTAs. And to hear Luke Johnson talk in the first hour today, he said, we were all there for the OTA experience of Tyler Shuck last year. And it was real vanilla, a lot of check downs, not willing to do a whole lot of anything, trying not to make mistakes, just trying to ease in. And yesterday, when the media's out there, he's letting it rip. He's hitting intermediate routes. He's hitting the deep ball. He's just more comfortable. He's more confident. And that's what you would expect. And if you've got a quarterback that's more comfortable, more confident, and you give him an advantageous situation, which a running game would do, all of a sudden you unlock a new level of offense that the Saints are trying to get to. They were terrible on offense the first 10 weeks last year. A lot of that was Spencer Rattler. A lot of that was checkdowns. A lot of that was injury. Once Shuck took over, he started to do a little bit more against some of the lesser teams on their schedule. We get it. But there's optimism. There's belief. There's confidence. There's improvement from what we saw from him in OTAs last year. Unquestionably, he's a lot better quarterback today than he was 12 months ago. But you still got a long way to go there in that development. So that's our look at the New Orleans Saints here to start off hour number one. If you're looking for Saints content, Ross Jackson has got you covered at LouisianaSports.net. A lot of folks have been reading his observations from OTAs, his standouts from OTAs, some of the interviews that he's done with some of the players. Had a great interview that went up, I believe, yesterday. That went up where he was talking to Jalen Polk, honored that the Saints pursued him despite being hurt and not having a real shot there in New England. So great stuff from Ross. It's free on LouisianaSports.net. If you're looking for my Saints stuff, you can find it at Hunt on Saints on YouTube, wherever you find your podcast as well. That's Hunt on Saints. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms. When we come back, LSU's got eyes on a potential starting pitcher. I'll tell you who it is next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com. That's lifetimeroofingla.com. Look, let them take a look at your roof. If you feel like there may be issues, it rains just about every day. If there's a potential leak, or you just feel like the roof might be at the age, or just looking at it from ground level, let's see if we need to make an adjustment here. Trust the folks at Lifetime Roofing to do that. Trust them to get up on your roof and to assess things. If you need a repair, they'll do a repair, not give you a whole new roof. If you just need a tune-up to reinforce and stabilize that roof as storm season comes through, they'll do a tune-up. And if you need a new roof, they'll do a new roof for you. It may be a great time to do that as storm season is here. Lifetime Roofing's got financing available. They are so committed to helping our community. And they understand that a lot of times when they're brought into action, there has been a significant weather circumstance. And they're here to help. They're Baton Rouge-based, Louisiana born and raised, LSU Tigers founded the company, and they're right here in Baton Rouge on College Drive, willing to help. So if you feel like there may be a leak, feel like you might need a new roof, feel like you might need a tune-up, feel like you might need a repair, Lifetime Roofing, find them online, lifetimeroofingla.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Let me take this time to remind you about David Duvall One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com. You know, closet space can be a big deal. It can be a game changer. It has been in our family, but we moved. We knew we were going to move when baby number 2 was going to show up. We were going to go find a little bit more space. So our old house never got a touch up with the closet space that it really needed. My wife noticed that immediately when she moved in. If you've got an issue with closet space, you've got clutter, you've got suitcases jammed places, you've got clothes down the hall like we did, you're having to move stuff into the attic or put things in other bedrooms, you just don't have the space you need, get a custom closet. David Duvall and his team are experts with that. They can either build you a new closet, which they're very capable of doing, they're licensed, they're bonded, they're insured, or they can use the space that you have a little bit more efficiently so that you don't have a mess everywhere. It's customized to your specifications. Go see some pictures. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. There are great pictures of their fantastic work. It'll be customized to your specs, and it will be gorgeous. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It starts with a free consultation with David. That doesn't cost you anything to talk to David. So just go to OneBathAndClosets.com, request that free consultation. Tell him you heard about David and One Bath and Closets on the Hunt Palmer Show, and he'd be happy to talk to you about a brand new closet there. It's OneBathAndClosets.com. All right, we're chasing down targets for LSU baseball to this point, and I've been vocal in suggesting that LSU needs to go find a weekend starter. I understand the nature of collegiate athletics right now. I know that weekend starters are expensive. I know that LSU has resources invested in Kason Evans and William Schmidt and Marcos Paz and Cooper Moore. I understand that, and they're all coming back to next year's team. All that's well and good. But that was your group this year, and it wasn't good enough. So to me, just betting on improvement from those guys, while you do have to do that to an extent, I'm not solely placing my bet on that, as well as the freshman class to come in. I need somebody who's done it in college who can come in and compete. Maybe those guys beat them out, but I need some competition. And LSU is very obviously looking for a little bit of that right now. And one of the names that has crossed our radar is Gonzaga freshman Landon Hood, who is in the portal. Hood is a 6'3" freshman, 200 pounds. He's from Goodyear, Arizona, which is just outside of Phoenix, which is close to Tucson. I did the map quest there, the Google map there. It's about an hour and 20 minutes from Tucson, where Jay Johnson was the head coach. Now, he would not have recruited Landon Hood. Johnson's been here now for 5 years. Hood's been in college for 1, so he would have been in 8th grade when Jay Johnson made the jump to LSU. But he obviously has contacts in the Goodyear, Chandler, Surprise, Phoenix area, and would be aware of Landon Hood. And that's a guy that LSU is looking at. And I think this would make a lot of sense. You look back to his high school days, I just like the statistics. His last year, he threw 17 complete games as a senior, had 138 strikeouts and 10 walks. His ERA was under 1. Now, that's high school, and we get it. But in college, I like a lot about what we saw from Landon Hood this year. He was, more often than not, asked to come out of the bullpen for Gonzaga, but it wasn't like a one-inning situation. He was oftentimes turned to for 3 or 4 innings out of the bullpen and really was exceptional. He threw 54 and a third innings. He pitched to a 2.48 ERA. He struck out 78 hitters and walked 21 in those 54 and a third innings. That's real stuff there. The outing that I like the best, he faced Oklahoma in Norman in March. He worked 3 innings. He did not give up a hit. He did not give up a run. He struck out 7 and walked 1 in 3 innings against Oklahoma. Got the save. I will add a caveat because I watched the outing today on YouTube. One of the strikeouts, one of the 7, was a pitch clock violation. So it was really 6, but we'll give him 7. He gets credit for the strikeout on the pitch clock violation. But you look at Landon Hood, he is a right-handed pitcher. He is well put together at 6'3", 200 pounds. He has an average fastball velocity of about 95 miles an hour that did touch 97 at times this year. And his best pitch is not the 97-mile-an-hour fastball. It is the fading straight change, which is a lethal offering. It is a great pitch. He's got a sharp breaking ball as well. It's got a little hump to it as a curveball. But the fastball is firm, and the changeup is really good. And I think it would play at the SEC level. And he obviously threw a lot of strikes as well. You look at extra base hits, he only gave up 3 home runs all year, only gave up 6 between doubles and singles. So 9 extra base hits in 54 and a third innings for Landon Hood. This is a legit dude. He was the West Coast Conference's Freshman of the Year. He is going to command a lot of attention from a lot of different schools around the country. And LSU has kind of got their foot in the door here and is trying to make a move. I don't know where they are in that process. I don't know exactly what Hood's plans are moving forward. But this is a guy who I think profiles as a starting pitcher in the Southeastern Conference. That's what I see when I look at Landon Hood. Now, I do believe his profile is fairly similar to Cooper Moore and Kason Evans. They're all 3 right-handed. They all have fastballs between 92 and 96, and they all like to throw a straight changeup. So that's not ideal. I think in a perfect world, Jay Johnson would like to add a left-handed starter. If Cooper Williams is not going to be that guy, if Santiago Garcia is not going to be that guy, if Danny Lockenmeyer is not going to be that guy, you would like to have a left-hander to sneak into that rotation. I don't know whether or not it's realistic to look at your visitor from yesterday from Northwestern State and say, hey, that's a guy who can be a starting pitcher. 1, he's coming off of elbow surgery. 2, he was a bullpen guy at Northwestern State and hadn't been stretched out to that extent. So I don't know if that's necessarily the best basket to put all your eggs in. But Brody Trosclair is a talented left-handed pitcher they're looking at, and they do have some talented left-handed pitchers on the roster. But like Plog's not going to start. He's going to be a left-handed bullpen guy. And so the concern is not whether or not I think Landon Hood can pitch in the SEC. I think he can. The concern would be he's similar to 2 of the 3 guys you've got in your starting rotation right now. He's not as similar to William Schmidt. Schmidt's more of a max effort guy, more of a breaking ball guy instead of a changeup. He's got a bigger arm. He's a better prospect, I think. But it's a guy that I would be really happy if LSU could get into the boat. He is pretty healthy. He is strong. He has been stretched out at times. I mean, I told you he's a reliever, but let me give you some of the outings here. Against Hawaii, he went 6 1/3 and threw 82 pitches. Against Creighton, he went 5 innings, threw 101 pitches. Indiana State, he was over 100 pitches. Against San Diego, he was at 99 pitches. The last outing of his year was against San Francisco. He went 6 2/3 innings of shutout baseball, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, 98 pitches. So while he only had 4 starts on the season in his 18 appearances, he is a guy who can stretch out, can be called upon to go 115 pitches once that weather warms up next year. So this is a guy I would really like LSU to add. I don't know whether or not they're going to be able to get that done, but it is certainly a guy that LSU's interested in. I mentioned Mikey Bell yesterday as a hitter they're interested in. He's Gonzaga's third baseman. So in a single Hunt Palmer show here in June, I had mentioned Gonzaga in 2 baseball instances and 1 basketball instance. That's 3 Gonzaga references in 1 June show here for the Hunt Palmer Show. That, I'm confident, is a record over the course of the last 5 years. But I think this is a guy that LSU could absolutely land, and we'll see if that does happen. Trosclair left town. He's headed to Fayetteville for a visit. I don't expect that Landon Hood will just pop into LSU and then just commit on the spot. I think he's going to be a guy that's courted enough to go drive it into a bidding order at times. But I think LSU will be competitive here, and my sincere hope is that they can make that work because I think that Landon Hood is a heck of a baseball player, and they would do well to land him. He's got everything you want. Last piece on him, I wrote this in my story on him. He allowed on the season 15 earned runs. He allowed 12 of those in 3 outings between March 14th and March 27th. So 2 weeks, 3 outings, 12 of the 15 runs. In the other 40 innings that he threw, he allowed 3 earned runs. That's an ERA well south of 1. So that's this is a guy that's really good. So hopefully LSU can bag him. That would be an awesome thing. Our Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. I'm going to give you Sean Sagrera's phone number during this read. So if you're looking for some of the finest beef in the country, you need to call Sean, and I'm going to give you his phone number. But Sean's got a process. He strategically mates cattle to produce an incredible product time and time again. It's consistent, it's repeatable, and it is some of the best beef you will ever eat. He has prime beef all over that farm. You go and look at the IMF scores. That's how you tell what grade beef is. And if you look at something between 1 and 3, that's select. That's bottom of the barrel. 3 to 7, that's your choice. That's where you see 60% of beef. And then 8 plus, that's prime. Sean's got cattle on that farm right now. You're looking at 8, 9 being prime, 10, 14, 18, 20 on that scale, more than twice the standard of prime. And all that beef is going to be raised on grass, finished on grain, dry aged 45 days, and ready for your freezer. It's a game changer. It's been a game changer in the Palmer House. It's grilling season. It's summer. You want the best ground beef. You want the best ribeyes, best fillets, best flank steaks. You want the best briskets, chuck roasts. They got them at Sagrera Farms. Give them a call, 225-719-1723. That's 225-719-1723. Sagrera Farms brings you our Thursday shows. We're chugging along here on this Thursday. We've covered a lot of ground here today. We've talked Saints, 2 different segments today. Talked about LSU football with the decommitment of Jaden Bryant. Joe Healy's here to talk Super Regional Baseball at 1:30. And also LSU basketball kind of led the show today as LSU has now managed to schedule Houston and Gonzaga in the non-conference for this coming November, December. That's a very, very exciting thing here in Baton Rouge for basketball. And there's a little baseball transfer portal talk for you here on this Thursday. We got 30 minutes left to go. Don't go anywhere. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. League play coming up, but you got to be a member to play in the league. So if you'd like to play in a league weekly throughout the summer, go to Swing Easy Golf Club and join the league. They're on Segan at Perkins. It's a great place to go hang out. You can get a personal membership, so you can go before work, you can go at lunch, you can go after work, you can go when it's raining, you can go when it's dark, work on your game or play. You can go with a group. Go hang out, crank the tunes up, turn the TV on, private bay, and play one of your favorite courses, Pebble Beach, Cypress Point, whatever the case may be. Or you can work on your game there at the driving range function. Corporate memberships are available as well. You can go by and see them. Segan at Perkins, or check them out online, SwingEasyGCBR.com. That's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Here, got a half an hour to go here on this Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Well, they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Jordan. My guy Myers, this week is wacky week at school. Started with crazy sock day on Monday, went with some monster truck socks. Then it was crazy hair day on Tuesday, so his mom made his hair like a dinosaur, apparently.
Little mohawk?
Yeah, the last 2 days, yesterday was costume day.
Okay.
He goes with the full LSU football uniform.
Okay.
Today was school spirit day. So he went with the full LSU baseball uniform.
Oh, all right.
So in the last 2 days, we've gone full LSU garb for the entire school day.
He's locked in, man.
Yesterday, I showed up, and they were reading a book to the whole class. So all the kids were sitting Indian style while the teacher read a book. And he was just in full uniform with a helmet on.
Okay.
listening to the book.
So when you walked in, what were some of the other costumes that caught your eye, maybe?
One of the kids was dressed as Woody.
Okay.
From
I
the
like
Toy
that.
Story. And when Myers walked in, full football uniform with his helmet on,
Yeah.
he walks in and the kid dressed as Woody goes, "Whoa, a baseball player!" And Myers goes, "No, a football player!" Like yelled at the kid. I was like, "Myers, calm down. He doesn't know. Like that's not everybody's as locked in as you are at this point. Not everybody's watching LSU football and baseball YouTube videos like you are."
Oh my! You did say that during the season. He was constant. What highlight game? What game was it? The Arkansas
Louisiana
game?
Tech game.
Oh, it was a lot Tech
where
game.
LSU scored like 13 points. There's no highlights in this game. Like the only highlight in the game, Xavion Thomas busts a long run down the left sideline,
and Harlem
Berry shakes free and runs out, and that's like all the highlights. And Myers just loves it. He calls it the Tigers and the Bulldogs that run out because LSU runs out of the tunnel in the first scene of the YouTube video. So
the Joe Sloan special.
That's it. So it was his first game ever. So I don't know if that's why he watches it, but it has been played in our house a billion times to this point.
He's locked.
Speaking of LSU football, just a generic segment here on ESPN.com list that I saw. Top playmakers among non-quarterbacks in college football entering 2026. And LSU does not have a player on this list. And it's not just offensive players. Like they do have Malachi Toney from Miami, who's a stud that he's on there. But then they've got like John Henry Daly from Michigan, who's a defensive end, a senior defensive end. Kejuan Lacey is on the list from Ole Miss at running back. And they got Colin Simmons at edge from Texas, who is a sack monster on the outside. Jeremiah Smith, of course, makes a list from Ohio State. They got a couple linebackers in Trey White and Adam Trick from Texas Tech. And then I saw a familiar name, and I did not realize. I knew he played well last year. I did not know what his statistics were. But Xavier Atkins, who signed at LSU out of high school, played a year at LSU, transferred to Auburn. He had 9 sacks and 17 TFLs last year.
Debo.
He led the SEC in TFLs, which I don't know that maybe I realized at the time, but I didn't remember that. But that's a familiar name on this list. They got Cam Cook, running back from West Virginia, Cam Robinson, linebacker from Virginia, and then Tyreek Tucker, defensive tackle from Indiana. But LSU does not have a player on this list. And that got me to thinking about the philosophy that Lane Kiffin has employed, which is at most positions, but certainly as he's mentioned at running back and wide receiver, they're probably not going to break the bank for that position. Instead, they want to have between the two probably like 8 dudes, maybe 3 running backs, 5, 6 wide receivers, 8 or 9 guys that they can trust, that are good, that are proven, that are old. And that's what they've done. And undoubtedly, 3 or 4, maybe more of the wide receivers they brought in last year are not going to help this year and are probably going to transfer out. Like that's just the way it's going to go. But you still have to stock the shelves. And the deal is, and this is the way that I always term it, it's not a perfect analogy by any stretch, but I think you understand the point. You just accumulate as many lottery tickets as you can. And you feel like if you do that, enough of them are going to turn up hits that you've got a competent receiving core. What he's trying to protect against is spending 75% of your receiver budget on Cam Coleman, and then he tweaks a knee and misses 3 weeks, and you don't have 75% of your receiver budget. Instead, we're going to chop this up a lot of different ways. And if we lose somebody, well, that stinks. We don't want that. But we do have a lot of capable backups that can come in and be essentially the same type of guy, and we can run our offense the way that it should be run. At running back, it kind of feels the same way. Now, Kejuan Lacey emerged as a breakout star, and certainly Quinshon Judkins was featured at Ole Miss. And maybe LSU has that this year, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels to me like Harlem Berry and Dylan Jones and obviously Caden Durham. I was thinking Case and Evans. Caden Durham, who I've watched play for 2 years now. You would think that name would just roll off the tongue. Those guys are probably going to split a lot of the carries. And you look at wide receiver, and they're probably the only guy offensively that's non-quarterback with Levitt that's going to be a stalwart, I would think, that just doesn't come off the field and dwarfs his position mates in terms of production is Trey Green. And when you get that guy, you work that guy. And we saw in the spring this year when he was fully participating, which was most of the time, even though he was in a non-contact jersey, Trey'Dez Green was being featured in the offense. They were throwing him screens. They were throwing him jump balls. They were throwing him balls over the middle of the field. Like, Lane Kiffin is going to use his primary dudes when those guys show up. But he's also going to spread the wealth and make sure that you've got a lot of various players, that one guy missing time for whatever reason doesn't derail you at the position. And there's two schools of thought on that. Like, one, that's a great idea to diversify yourself and make sure you've got enough capable guys. And two, great players help win games. And I don't know if LSU's got a first-team All-SEC wide receiver. I don't know if they got a first-team All-SEC running back. They got a first-team All-SEC tight end. But I don't know about the other two spots. So I can see it both ways. Obviously, I want a situation which was a unicorn-type deal where you get Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall to go handle their business on the outside. But that doesn't always happen. You get Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. That doesn't always happen. This doesn't feel like that at LSU's wide receiver room. It doesn't feel like they've got Fournette and Geis at tailback. It feels like they've got a host of helpers. And I think that's risk-averse and probably raises your floor. Does it lower your ceiling? I guess it remains to be seen. I guess that's something we'll help learn. If they go out there this year and nobody's named a first-team All-SEC tailback and nobody's named a first-team All-SEC wide receiver, maybe Levitt is if they succeed, but like the guys that are catching the ball and running the ball. And maybe you got a second-teamer and a couple third-teamers, 3 second-teamers, whatever the case may be, then he'll be proven right. That you can score 34 points a game with a bunch of guys who are interchangeable. And maybe that's not the case, and you need to get a star. I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form right now that Lane Kiffin's wrong. In fact, I think he's probably right. But I am leaving the door open for a little bit of skepticism. And look, I don't think LSU's... don't misconstrue this. Sometimes when I start talking, I feel like I'm listening through your ears, and I may hear something that you may disagree with and push back on. And so sometimes I'll go back and address it. I'm not suggesting LSU doesn't have talented players at receiver and running back. I think Dylan Jones is going to be a really good player. I think Harlan Berry could be a game breaker. I love watching Jace Brown run routes. I thought Winnie Watkins had a monster spring. I think Trey Wilson is so elusive and so sudden. I think Jackson Harris is a big-time physical receiver. There are dudes in this room, but none of them look like Cam Coleman. I don't think any of them are going to play like Malik Neighbors. And so I think it's an interesting test case. And not that this list from ESPN.com with the best playmakers in the country was one that, swayed me to thinking this. This is something that Lane Kiffin has said out loud. But it's interesting. And I'm curious to see how it plays out. And if you feel like at times you're missing that guy that can take over a game, you're missing that guy that can make the contested play, you're missing that guy that can bust a 60-yarder like Kejuan Lacey did last year for Ole Miss, you may have it. Caden Durham's done it in his career. We think Harlan Berry's got the capability of doing it, but it's just I don't think when we get to not Hoover this year, Tampa. I don't think when we get to Tampa for Media Days next month in like 7 weeks, I don't think that LSU is going to have a first team or a second team or a third team tailback. I don't think LSU is going to have a first or second team wide receiver in the preseason. That doesn't mean anything, right? I'm well aware that doesn't mean your offense is bad. It's just a bunch of sports writers filling out paper. But there are times where you go into a season like knowing what you've got in terms of a game breaker. And I don't know that LSU's got that. I think you just have a lot of good. Does that lower the floor? I think it's worth a discussion. I'm confident in LSU's offense. I'm confident in Lane Kiffin. I'm confident in Charlie Weiss Jr. I'm feeling better about Sam Levitt with the videos that are coming out. And I liked what I saw from the skill position guys when we were out there in spring football. I really did. I think that there were some real things to like. But it doesn't look like Kejuan Lacey. It doesn't look like Cam Coleman. It doesn't look like Kadarius Toney. To me, yet. We'll see. Let's look at LSU football here on this Thursday. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Take a time out. We will come back and close this show out. That is next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Ochsner, our good friends at Ochsner, taking care of you all May long. They were telling you about the Stroke Awareness Month, obviously. They did that all May long, and it was fantastic information. And they want to remind you in June that whether you're an athlete or just trying to stay active, Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute can help get you moving and keep you moving. Got access to the highest level of specialized care, some nationally renowned expertise, the latest equipment, modern facilities, and that includes a convenient walk-in orthopedic clinic at Elite Training Complex Burbank. If you drive by on Burbank and you see it and you go, the thing with the goalposts out front, that's Elite. They've got an incredible facility right there, and it does function as a walk-in clinic. They're here to help keep you moving forward with your healing. You can check them out at ochsner.org/brortho. If you got a sprain, strain, minor dislocation, maybe a sports injury, you can check them out at Burbank at the Elite Training Facility. You can learn more at ochsner.org/brortho. No appointment needed. Walk in today. That's our friends at Ochsner.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Here on a Thursday, brought to you by First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust, you can find them online at fabt.com. Started up in 1910, 116 years later. They're still right here in Southeast Louisiana, and they have grown to 25 locations. What does 25 locations mean? Well, it means they've got the resources to assist you. For your commercial loan, for your personal loan, First American Bank and Trust has got the size and the resources to help. They also pride themselves on the community feel. All of their locations, all 25, are right here in Southeast Louisiana. That means the decisions that are made on your commercial loan, on your personal loan, are made locally. They're made by folks you go to church with, folks you see at the Little League baseball field, folks you see in the carpool line, the restaurant. It's First American Bank and Trust. Whether you're in St. Tammany or Tangipahoa on the I-12, maybe you're down the bayou in Lafourche, Terrebonne, St. John Parish, Dutchtown, Jones Creek, Metairie, wherever you are in Southeast Louisiana, there is a First American Bank and Trust near to you. So if you're looking for a residential loan, looking for a commercial loan, deal with First American Bank and Trust, the local option right here in Southeast Louisiana, online at fabt.com. All right, it's been a fun show here on this Thursday. Hope you're safe out there. We're working towards the weekend. Tomorrow's show should be a good one. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com will talk some recruiting with us. Another big weekend coming up for LSU on that front. Super Regionals will get started around the lunchtime hour tomorrow, so we'll preview all of those. Imagine some baseball transfer portal news will continue to leak out. We'll get to a lot of that. Saints OTAs continue, so no shortage of things to talk about this time of year, which we were a little concerned about it, but I've not had any trouble filling the show whatsoever. We'll see how things progress once the Saints hang up OTAs and Super Regionals in Omaha are done, but that's just the nature of the sports calendar, I guess. But we're happy to be here, and we'll be happy to be here tomorrow. I hope you'll join us for all of that. Right now, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so last night for the NBA Finals, a fan who ran to center court during the fourth quarter of the NBA Finals attempted to take a selfie with star Victor Wembanyama. He was arrested and given a lifetime ban from all NBA arenas. To make matters worse, Wemby was too tall for the selfie, and he was only able to get up to his shoulders. So getting banned and still not getting the selfie, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it.
Leave it alone.
People are so stupid.
Very.
This is a stupid thing to do. It's a stupid thing to do. And I don't get why people are so stupid.
Yeah, and what makes matters worse is, Hunt, the video is like, Wemby kind of embraced him a little bit. Like, get your little picture or whatever. And he's so tall that this guy was up to his stomach. Like, that put into perspective how tall this guy really is, though. That you risked getting banned and getting arrested.
Let's just talk this out. Like, best case scenario.
Okay.
You run out on the court, get a selfie on your phone with Victor Wembanyama.
Yep.
Get arrested. Like, that's the best thing that could happen.
Yeah, and get banned.
Worst case scenario, you screw up the picture, you get arrested as well, and then you stay in jail and
Can't
you get
bail
some
out.
sort of massive bail and you screw up the picture and you're banned for life from NBA. The plus minus here on this is so out of whack.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, you can't even do anything with the selfie. It's just you just have. I don't know. It's just so dumb.
And the real cherry on top is that you paid all those monies for those tickets. Yeah. You paid over $1,000 some for those tickets. So, oh my goodness. So, wide receiver Watson and the Packers agreed to a 4-year, $100 million extension that includes a $30 million signing bonus, according to Adam Schefter. The new money averages out to around $27.6 million a year, the same as George Pickens currently. So, do the Saints need to hurry up and get Olave signed? Take it or leave it?
I'll take it. I don't know what of his contemporaries are out there on the market. I'm not going to comb through every NFL team and see who's a contemporary of Olave and what their contract situation is. But we know that Drake London is certainly a contemporary, and we know that got done, and that's going to drive the cost of business up. So, like Luke talked about it in the first hour, and it makes sense. They may be haggling over some guaranteed money and some incentive-based stuff because of the concussion issues. But, as time goes by, it's probably going to cost you more. If you know you're going to sign them, just get it done.
Yep, exactly. And then, again, no more distractions. It's over with. Yeah. Sign. Let's get to the season. So the Santa Clara County District Attorney Office issued arrest warrant for San Francisco 49ers. I guess he still plays for him. Brandon Ayuk on a misdemeanor charge of excessive speeding. The warrant is a reference to a video Ayuk posted on YouTube in December, which shows him speeding over 40 miles over the speed limit past Levi Stadium where the Niners play. So is Ayuk's fall from grace one of the most puzzling we've seen? Take it or leave it.
I mean, I'll take it. People are stupid. Why are we videoing ourselves
post it on
breaking
YouTube.
the law and putting it on? I just don't. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? This is a line I use oftentimes. Life is really hard. It's hard out here. Like, it's hard. It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to run on the court during the finals and take a selfie. You don't have to put yourself breaking the law on YouTube. It's not that hard. I just don't get it.
I don't get it because what happened with Ayuk? I remember at one point in time around 2023 when he was one of the best receivers in the NFL right before he got paid.
He was with Jaden in college.
Yeah, and they're still talking about him going to go team up with Jaden with the Commanders, but this guy was one of the highest paid receivers. Well, got paid and just lost his mind. Like kind of Antonio Brownish a little bit, but just completely lost his mind after getting his money.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I have no idea what is going on with this with the NFL players, and I guess it's with the head injuries or whatnot, but just seeing how Ayuk, because I had him in my fantasy team, seeing how this guy is transpired.
Not anymore.
Yeah, it's I don't get it, man. So you're right. Life is hard, but it ain't this hard. So that's it for take it or leave it.
That's it on this Thursday for take it or leave it. I want to remind you again about Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Look, you are paying a premium when you go buy your beef wherever it is that you buy it. You're paying a premium. The price has gone up. Herd levels are very low. Supply and demand dictates that prices rise. So you're paying a premium, and you're probably not getting a premium product. How many DNA are in that ground beef that you're buying wherever you buy it? You don't know. Was it given improper antibiotics? Was it given steroids? You don't really know. You get a lot of questions about that beef that you may be buying. You don't have any questions if you go to Sagrera Farms. You know that you're getting one DNA, one cow, prime every single time. Flavorful, tender, well-marbled ground beef, ribeyes, New York strips, fillets, flanks, chucks, brisket, the whole deal. It can be a game changer. Father's Day is coming up. So if you've got a dad or some dads in your life that you want to give a great gift to, fill their freezer, Sagrera Farms is happy to do that for you. And it's with some of the finest beef in the country. So contact my guy, Sean Sagrera, 225-719-1723. That's 225-719-1723. Contact Sean Sagrera and say, hey, heard about Sean Hunt's show. I'd like to get some beef. You can go up to the farm in Ethel. You'll see the process. Raised on grass, finished on grain, dry aged 45 days. They'll have it packaged for you. You just take home the ice chest. Put it in the freezer. It will change the way you do beef. Time to do burgers? Grab the ground beef out. Want to do steaks on a Saturday? Boom, grab the ribeyes out. It's game changer. It's what we do at the Palmer House. You can do it too. Sagrera Farms brings you our Thursday shows. Missing the show today? Catch it on demand. Go check us out. We started the show with LSU in basketball, playing Houston and Gonzaga. It's a game changer. It may change my schedule in the fall and winter as well with a little podcasting. Luke Johnson was with us talking Saints. You can find that at Hunt on Saints on YouTube, wherever you find your sound. Joe Healy previewed the SEC in the Super Regional round. Jaden Bryant decommitted. What does it mean? I talked about it at the end of the first hour. A little sound from Kellen Moore, Hunt on Saints, where you can find that. And LSU looking at Gonzaga's top reliever, freshman of the year in the West Coast Conference. Can they get that done? I mentioned that at 2:15. You can read all about it at louisianasports.net as well. That's it for us here on this Thursday edition. Matt Moscona is going to drive you home, but not from here. He's over there in Lake Charles. He'll be here from AFR from 3 to 6. We're back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Excited for it. It'll be a Friday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
I love telling you about Marucci. It's such a cool story. And you can learn that story if you don't know it. If you go by and take a tour, you can learn about how a couple of former big leaguers and their trainer started handcrafting bats in the backyard, in the shed. And then all of a sudden you fast forward 2 decades and they're the official bat of Major League Baseball. What a cool journey that is in a short amount of time. You can learn that story right here in the capital city. It is summer. Some baseball seasons, some softball seasons are winding down. Another thing you can do at Marucci is become a member so that your youth baseball player, your youth softball player can go get work in their cages in the hitter's house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's always open with the key card access. That sounds like something your child might be interested in. Become a member at Marucci. Check them out online at maruccisports.com. You can buy a ticket to the campus tour and get that 20% discount in the campus tour store and the hitter's house. Or you can book a time in the cage. It's all there at Marucci.